You just got your exam results back, and they are perfect. Not just good, not just better than last time, perfect. The kind of grade where you read it once, blink, read it again, and then just start smiling like an idiot because you can't help it. You aced it. Now you have to go home and tell mom. And depending on where you live, what happens next is either going to be the best moment of your week or the beginning of a very long conversation about what you're going to do with your life. Because here's the thing. Every culture on earth celebrates success, but they do not celebrate it the same way. Not even close. How a family reacts to a perfect grade tells you more about that culture than any history book ever could. Today, we're looking at 10 countries, 10 families, and 10 completely different reactions to the exact same perfect score. India, China, Japan, South Korea, Nigeria, Germany, Brazil, Russia, North Korea, and the USA. Same kid, same grade, 10 different worlds about to react. Let's start where things get loud, proud, and straight up personal, the United States. In the USA, celebrating achievement is practically a sport. Good grades might mean dinner at your favorite restaurant, a new video game, a surprise gift card, or a post on the family Facebook page that gets shared 17 times. Parents might pull the whole family out to celebrate, because in America, success is something you announce. The school gets involved too. Honor rolls, bumper stickers that say, "My kid is an honor student." Some families throw actual parties for a report card. But here's the real reason behind all of that noise. American culture is deeply tied to the idea of individual achievement. Your success is your story, and parents want their children to feel that being exceptional is something worth celebrating loudly and publicly, because confidence, they believe, is half the battle. Except there's a country where parents take that idea and flip it entirely on its head. In India, the kid walks through the door and drops the report card on the table. 97%. Mom screams, not a quiet, controlled scream, a full, joyful shriek that somehow brings 3 aunts, a grandmother, and a neighbor in from next door. Within 10 minutes, there are sweets being handed out to the entire building. Neighbors who haven't spoken in months are suddenly congratulating each other like they're family. But then, and this is the part that makes it uniquely Indian, someone at the table will always ask, "But what happened to the other 3 marks?" Parents who worked incredibly hard to give their kids opportunities they never had don't see a 97 as a ceiling. They see it as proof that 100 is possible. The celebration is real and loud and full of food, but so is the quiet conversation afterward. We believe in you, and we're not done yet. Cross the Himalayas and land in China, and the energy shifts in a fascinating way. Chinese parents are known globally for how seriously they take academic achievement. When their child comes home with top marks, the reaction is warm but controlled. There's pride, absolutely, but it's expressed through action rather than noise. Dad might take the family to a restaurant that's been saved for a special occasion. Mom might call the grandparents. There are gifts, sometimes a red envelope with money, which in Chinese culture is one of the highest forms of respect you can show someone. But here's what most people don't realize. The reaction isn't just about this one test. It's about the story of the whole family. Many Chinese parents came from generations of scarcity, of working with their hands, of hoping their children would get the education they never could. A good report card isn't just grades. It's proof that the sacrifice was worth it. And that makes the celebration carry a quiet weight that's more emotional than any party could ever be. Now, let's talk about South Korea, because the reaction here might genuinely surprise you. The kid walks in, parents look up, and then nothing dramatic. No shouting, no tears. His mother nods, slowly, and says, "Good, keep going." To an outsider, that sounds cold, but that's completely missing the point. South Korea has one of the most intense education cultures on the planet. Kids study at school all day and then go to private tutoring academies called hagwons at night. Some don't get home until 11 or midnight. In this world, a perfect score isn't the end of the race. It's proof you're on the right track. The real reward comes differently. A rare day off, a favorite meal cooked with extra care, a parent staying up late just to sit with their child in comfortable silence. In Korea, love is often shown through dedication, and the greatest gift a parent can give is continuing to invest in your future, even harder, now that you've proved you can handle it. That's when things get interesting, because the next country takes that same quiet pride and adds something almost spiritual to it. In Japan, the approach is rooted in a concept called shokunin, the idea of mastering your craft through years of patient, humble dedication. When a Japanese child does exceptionally well in school, parents tend to be measured in public. No confetti, no announcing it to the street. But at home, the table might have the child's favorite food waiting. There's a quiet conversation where a parent might say, "You worked very hard. I am proud of you." Simple words, but in Japanese culture, where emotional expression is restrained, those words land like a weight you feel in your chest. What's beautiful about Japan is how grades are seen as part of character building, not just achievement. The reward isn't a trophy, it's respect. And the parent's deepest wish isn't that you become famous or rich, it's that you become someone of integrity. Now let's land in Nigeria, where the reaction is on a completely different level. Mom might shout, "God is good," before she even fully reads the paper. Dad calls his brothers. Aunts who live across town somehow find out within the hour. At church that Sunday, the family might stand up to give thanks publicly. There could be a small party with jollof rice, music, and relatives arriving in waves like nobody sent them an invitation, they just knew. But underneath all of that joy is something powerful. In Nigeria, education is seen as the most reliable path out of hardship and the most meaningful gifts a parent can give. Parents sacrifice enormously to pay school fees, sometimes working multiple jobs, sometimes going without just to keep their child in school. So when that child comes home with excellent grades, it's not just a good day. It's confirmation that the family's faith, prayers, and sacrifice are working. That is absolutely worth shouting about. Fly north to Germany and the atmosphere shifts, but the meaning runs just as deep. German parents tend to be measured and precise, not cold, just thoughtful. A child with excellent grades might receive a genuine, heartfelt conversation about what they worked hard on and what they're proud of. There might be a special family dinner, a book the child has been wanting, a weekend trip somewhere they've been asking to go. What Germany values deeply is a concept called Bildung, which goes beyond grades and means the full development of a person, intellectually, morally, and creatively. So the celebration isn't just about the marks, it's about what those marks say about who this child is becoming. In Brazil, the reaction is warm, loud, and wrapped in the kind of physical affection that you feel in your whole body. Hugs, kisses, relatives called, music might come on. There's food, always food, and the family tells the story of the grades to everyone who will listen, sometimes slightly embellished by the time it makes it through the extended family group chat. Brazilian culture is rooted in connection and warmth. Success is something you share, and a child's achievement is the whole family's achievement. No one succeeds alone here, and no one celebrates alone either. In Russia, the reaction carries a particular kind of serious respect. Russian parents have historically placed enormous value on academic and intellectual achievement. A child with top grades might receive a firm handshake from their father, which in Russian culture is deeply meaningful. Pride is expressed in quiet tones, in careful acknowledgement. Gifts are thoughtful, never flashy. A book, a chess set, something that says, "We see that you are becoming someone capable of great things." And that quiet pride often means more to Russian children than any loud celebration ever could. And then there is North Korea. In most countries, good grades bring family celebrations, but in North Korea, outstanding academic achievement can elevate your entire family's position within the state system. A child who excels academically, particularly in science, math, or political subjects, may be identified and placed in elite schools that open doors to privileged careers and a completely different quality of life. The parents' reaction carries something different from everywhere else on this list: relief and hope. In a country where so much is outside your control, a child's intelligence is one of the few things a family can genuinely cultivate. The celebration is quiet and careful, but underneath it, the emotion is enormous. And so here we are, having traveled from Texas to Mumbai to Lagos to Tokyo to Pyongyang. And what did we find? Parents in every country react differently. Some scream, some nod, some pray, some throw parties. Some say two quiet words that carry more weight than a speech ever could. The rituals are different, the cultures are different, the expectations are wildly different. But almost everywhere on Earth, when a child comes home with something to be proud of, a parent's heart does the exact same thing. It swells. Because behind every reaction, whether it's a red envelope, a church testimony, a firm handshake, or a plate of jollof rice, is the same feeling that crosses every border and speaks every language.